live on the air. I'm Richard Saile.
This is wild.
Hello and welcome back to another episode of Lounge Time. I'm your host, Rich Saile, and today, Week 4 NFL picks starts tonight. Cardinals, Seahawks in Arizona. Week 5 college football, a lot of marquee games today. And yes, we have upsets. Rich will take a chance on some upsets because there's some I found I liked. Now, it's on my note card that I have saved. I'm also going to get the lines while I'm at it while I do this because, again, I like to have it just to make it for some fun, okay? So, enough of me blabbering. Let's get into college football week 5. I have a few games on the card that I am going to pick. I'm probably doing okay with this. I wouldn't say if I'm doing great. Again, you guys can fact check my win-loss percentage record. That's besides the point. Let's start off with, let's go with the, you know what, I'm going to throw a little something, Florida State, Virginia, okay? Tomorrow night. It's in Virginia for Florida State. Guess who they got next week? Miami. Big rivalry. I'm not saying they're going to lose to Virginia, but I'm saying 7 points in Virginia is a lot, okay? I know they've looked great, but it's a lot of points to lay. With a big rivalry game looming, I'm not going to put anything on the game as far as, like, you know, taking the points of Virginia. I'm not going to do that. I do think, though, this is going to be a close game throughout, and then Florida State pulls away late. So I got Florida State winning 26-17 on Virginia. I just feel like this is a game where, yes, Florida State will win. It'll be close, but they'll pull away late. Just be very careful with the 7. I don't love this. I do not love it, you know, as far as like me with some action. But that's one pick I'm going to do. Now, I was looking earlier before I started recording. There are some lines I'm tempted to take. I'm again, TCU, Arizona State. I'd lean the over. I don't love it. I'd lean the over. Okay. Notre Dame, Arkansas. Same thing. It's just a lot of points, though. 63.5 for Notre Dame, Arkansas. Arizona State, TCU was 54.5. I'd lean over in both. Lean it in both. Don't love it, but I'd lean it, okay? They didn't make the card, but, you know, very, very close. All right? USC goes to Illinois on Saturday. USC is favored by 6.5 in Illinois. Wow. I know Illinois got blown out. I watched a little bit of that game. I know they got blown out. It was in Indiana, though. I mean, wow. And USC, which, again, they beat Michigan State, at Purdue, Georgia Southern, and, wait, I'm drawing a blank, Missouri State? I think I got that one right. They haven't really beaten anybody like crazy good either. Illinois just lost at Indiana, which I know Indiana looks really good, but 6.5 point dogs to USC? I don't know about that. I mean, that's tempting. I always say, college football, listen, there are some home dogs I'm like, come on, man. Like, I got to take this. I'm going to take Illinois plus 6.5. People are crazy right now, okay? Listen, I know Illinois was number 9 last week, and they got blown out in Indiana, all right? They do play at home this Saturday. USC's got to travel from Cali to the Midwest, and they start at an earlier kickoff time, which they're not used to yet because they're just recently in the Big Ten. That's an adjustment, okay? And last week, they played an 11 o'clock start time against Michigan State, and they ended late. So I like Illinois to hang with the 6.5. I'm not saying Illinois is going to win, but USC is going to score. They're not covering 6.5. No way in heck. I'm taking 6.5 right now with Illinois. I got USC winning though, 30-24 over Illinois. Way too much points Illinois is getting, and that team was just ranked in the top 10 last week. Way too high of a line. But I will take Illinois with the 6.5. I think USC wins 30-24. I do think USC's offense can score. I think Illinois can score, but way too high of a line. Love getting the 6.5. Illinois home dog, but they do not win. USC wins. All right. Duke-Syracuse. Again, I'm not picking this game. I'm tempted to take Syracuse with the 5.5. I know they beat Clemson big last week. I know. But Duke's supposedly good too. I feel like the over is a little high in this game. I'm not betting this. Might lean Cuse with the 5.5. Might lean Cuse 5.5. Maybe. Small. Don't love it. I wouldn't do it this week, but just missed a card. Let's go to, okay, this one. This is a small play on this, but this one made the card. Give me Central Florida with the 5.5 against Kansas State. Now, Rich, you're probably like, why would you take Central Florida, the road team, with 5.5 at Kansas State? I know Kansas State hasn't looked great on offense lately, and I know it's going to feel like a long year. Central Florida just dominated North Carolina in North Carolina, I believe. So I'm saying to myself, well, Kansas State hasn't looked great either from what I've heard. Why are they favored by 5.5? Am I missing something here? I know Central Florida, Scott Frost is really good over there. He did lead them to unbeaten season 2017, if I remember correctly, before he went to Nebraska, and that whole situation looked bad. I just feel like Kansas State, they haven't looked good yet. I know Central Florida's coming off a dominant win against North Carolina. I know, but am I crazy to take Central Florida with the 5.5? But I figured, listen, I don't take upsets. I like Central Florida to win the game. Kansas State has not looked good. They have not. They might win. 5.5, though? I don't know about that. I like Central Florida to win the game. Give me the 5.5 with the Central Florida. I think it's Knights, right? Central Florida Knights, yeah. On the road. Hope I'm right on that. I might be dead wrong, but I think it's Knights from what I remember, okay? Let's go to Ohio State traveling to Washington. Favored by 8.5. So Washington's get 8.5 points as a home dog. Over and under is at 51.5. Ooh. I'm not touching the total. I'm not doing it. I know Damon Williams is a really good quarterback from Washington. I know that. How is Washington going to stop Jeremiah Smith is what I want to see. I don't know if they've got the guys to do it. Okay? I don't know if they got the guys to do it. I really don't know. I do think Ohio State wins. Cover the 8.5 without a problem. But I do not like this game for Washington to stay close. I know people say it is a sneaky good environment for college football. It is. I like Ohio State 38-13. I just don't know how Washington stays close with them, considering how potent their offense is and how good their defenses look so far. I don't think Damon Williams will have a lot of success. Give me Ohio State to blow the doors off Washington, 38-13. And I hate saying it because they're another team I can't stand in college football. They're right there with Bama, which I'm saving something for Bama later. LSU travels to Ole Miss, Oxford, to take on Ole Miss Rebels. So I am 0-for-1 picking LSU when they are on the road, which was at Clemson week 1. I did pick them against Florida to win because I thought they would handle Florida convincingly. So I'm 1-1 picking LSU, I know. Ole Miss, I was dead wrong about that game being close with Arkansas, but I got wrong with Tulane. So I'm 0-for-2 with them. All right. Ole Miss, however, is starting a transfer quarterback making, I think, his third start against LSU. Ooh, okay. Now, this is a big game for Ole Miss because if you win this game, you have a chance to be ranked maybe in the top at least 15. I think they were in the 20s last I remember. I could be wrong. They've definitely moved up with a lot of upsets that have happened. LSU, though, has looked good defensively. Offensively, they haven't quite clicked as much as we expected. But I do think that LSU wins the game because their defense has been so far really good. I know they haven't looked great since the Clemson game, but granted, you played Florida, you played Louisiana Tech. Ole Miss did beat Arkansas, but Arkansas ain't looking too great because they just lost to Memphis. So I'm going to take LSU to win 30-20 over Ole Miss. I think this game is close to the over. I wouldn't do it. I like LSU to win. So, again, I just trust Garrett Nussmeier more than I do the transfer quarterback for Ole Miss. I'm not saying Lane Kiffin can't pull an upset. He definitely can. But LSU's defense looks really good so far, and that's the reason I'm taking LSU to beat Ole Miss. Indiana travels to Iowa. 7.5 points. Indiana is favored in this game over Iowa. 47.5 is the over and under. Ooh. Okay, now, Indiana's got a tough game next week. They play Oregon next week. Okay? They just came off beating the brakes off Illinois at home. Now you travel to Iowa. Iowa's a sneaky good, game afternoon, right? Everybody thinks Indiana is great. Number 11, right? Iowa, Kirk Ferentz, defense. They might slow this kid down. I know Indiana has dudes that are good on offense. I know, but Iowa, Ferentz hangs his hat on defense. Give me Iowa with the points. I'm not saying Iowa's going to beat Indiana, but 7.5? You really think Indiana's going to blow the doors off Iowa? I don't know about that. I mean, I have it right within 7. I have it 23-16 Indiana over Iowa. I think Indiana can score. They're not scoring a lot, though, with Iowa. Iowa's going to hang with them. Indiana's got to play Oregon next week. Possible look ahead? Possible? I don't know. Iowa, they're not really insane offensively, but I do think Indiana will win. It won't be by 7.5, but I like Iowa 7 with the hook. But Indiana wins 23-16. All right, Auburn A&M. I'm not betting this game because I don't really like what I'm seeing from Auburn lately. They didn't impress me too much against Oklahoma. They did have a little bit of a lead, and then Mateer ended up coming back and winning. I watched a little bit of that game. A&M did impress me against Notre Dame in Notre Dame. Now, fresh off a bye week, they play Auburn. I think they had a bye week. Either they had a bye week or they played a small school. I think they had a bye week, though. Could be wrong. I do like A&M to win because Jackson Arnold, I believe that that Oklahoma front made him uncomfortable. I'm struggling to see how Auburn's line is going to handle A&M's defense. And I figured that, if Oklahoma generated some explosive plays last week in Oklahoma, what is A&M going to do with that offense? They're going to score as well. I say 27-20, A&M covers 6.5. I don't like the over in this game. What is it, 52.5? So I don't love betting unders either. 27-20, A&M beats Auburn in Aggie land. So I like A&M 27-20 over Auburn. Let me look. I see these are some crazy lines. Utah with West Virginia, I think 12.5. I'm not taking anything in that game. Oklahoma State. So Mike Gundy gets fired. Baylor's favored by 21 points as a road team. And Oklahoma State's getting 21 points as a home dog. The day after they fired Gundy. Now, funny enough as is, okay? We saw Virginia Tech fire Brent Pry. They won their first game. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but there is something where I'm going, is this a trend you take? I'm not doing it this week. It's just something I'm going to keep an eye on. I'm not going to bet that game. No chance. Cal BC in BC. Not touching that game. UCLA, Northwestern. Not doing that game at all either. But, again, there's some tricky ones. Northwestern's favorite. I don't blame them for saying that. I'm not touching that game for a reason. Just trying to get to my next line here. I don't know why. Whatever. Okay, here's a tempting one, okay? Tennessee is favored by 7.5 against Mississippi State. This was 8.5 an hour ago as I was recording my notes. So it's moved down. So money's coming on Mississippi State. Now, Mississippi State's got a feel-good story because they were dead last in the SEC last year. They won 2 games. They've surpassed their win total already from last season. Tennessee beat the brakes off some small school, right? First real tough road test for them. Am I crazy to say I would try to get Mississippi State? I should have did 8.5 with my notes, but now it's 7.5. I don't know why. I feel like Tennessee, they can score, but can Mississippi State score on them? I don't know. I would lean the 7.5 with Mississippi State. Lean it. I don't love it. It didn't make the card. Maybe. All right, that's one. All right, now we get into the games I want to get into here, which would be the big boys, the big boys, the primetime games. Alabama takes on Georgia in Georgia. Now, Alabama's had Georgia's number, okay? They have one loss already, Florida State. Georgia has yet to beat Bama except for that national championship game with Kirby Smart against Nick Saban. And that was back in 2021 season where Georgia finally got the best of Bama in the championship. Since then, though, Bama's owned Georgia. Now, Bama's got Tim Keenan III coming back at defensive line. They have another couple key pieces coming back as well. Gunnar Stockton did win Tennessee in Tennessee, so that was a big win for him early. Now he's got Bama, the team they have yet to beat. I have a little questions about Georgia's receiving core. But then again, Bama on the road has not been good under Kalen DeBoer. So, Georgia's favored by 3. The over and under is 52.5. I'll tell you this, though. My favorite college play of the weekend, over Bama, Georgia. I think this is going to be a game where they're going to score. I'm not completely sold on Ty Simpson as Bama's QB. I know he looked pretty mediocre against Florida State, but then who'd you beat after that? All right, you beat some mid-teams. All right, let's pump the brakes. Georgia is going to be motivated because why? Bama is coming out of their building. They lost to Bama last year in Bama. This game, they have to win because, not saying their schedule gets tough. Now, early in the year, I did pick Bama to beat Georgia in Georgia. I did. But you know what, Bama fans? I don't like yous. You mostly are bandwagons from the Nick Saban era. You are not going to be good, okay? And I like Kalen DeBoer as a coach, but I'll tell you what, you guys are so damn spoiled rotten. You guys need another down year to realize you're not at the top of the hierarchy pyramid in college football anymore. There are different teams over you this year. So, fuck you, Bama. I'm going Georgia. And I'm going Georgia, and I have it in my notes right here. Looking for where I wrote it because I have it. Oh, yeah. 31-24. Georgia beats Bama. And Bama drops to their second loss. And, yeah, the SEC Bias Network, ESPN, Georgia beats Bama. And I'm waiting to see what excuse Stephen A. Smith has for when Bama loses. So, Georgia beats Bama 31-24. Oregon travels to Penn State. This is going to be a really good game, I think. All right, now, to this point, I have no upsets for college football yet. Penn State's favored by 3.5, over and unders at 52.5. I know it's the whiteout game. Penn State, though, to me, has not looked like the number 2 team in the country that they were beginning of the year. They have not. I think they've moved down to 3 or 4 since now that first AP poll came out. Oregon, though, looked really good. Granted, Oklahoma State sucks. They won in Northwestern. But they've looked good. James Franklin has struggled against top 5, top 10 teams. He struggled mightily. He does have arguably the best roster in the country. Drew Aller is supposedly a Heisman candidate, although he hasn't played like it much lately. But he's due for a breakout game. Dante Moore, Oregon's quarterback. It's a first true road test for him. because he's never been in a Big Ten road environment. This is his first big road game for him. So there's some questions on both sides. You guys clown on me for getting on no upsets. You know what? I know one trend that will never fail much often. Give me the 3.5 with the Oregon Ducks to go into Penn State, ruin the whiteout. Ready? And I'm going to say it real, not loud, hopefully, but I'm going to say it pretty confidently, chest out too. The Oregon Ducks are going to beat the Penn State Nittany Lions on whiteout night and beat Penn State. They're going to beat them because who else is beating them in the Big Ten outside of Ohio State in the playoff? But I'm saying strictly in Big Ten conference play, they have not lost. I don't think they'll lose yet. I don't like what I'm seeing from Penn State. Oregon Ducks will beat the Penn State Nittany Lions 27-24. Guarantee. There's your first college football guarantee. I'm taking Oregon, upsets Penn State. I'm going bold. Yup, because I'm not scared. I'll tell you right now, that is the one upset I'm like, you know what? Yup, I'm doing it. I'm not sold on what I've seen from Penn State. I'm not sold on it. Nope, because I have not been impressed. So there you have it. Those are my college football week 5 picks. Basically, some favorites, except for Oregon at Penn State. That's your upset. Yep, I'm doing it. And then there's some small plays, but we'll worry about that from there. Let's move into NFL week 4. We're going to start with the picks. I might even do some guarantees as I go along to make this go by quicker. And then I'm going to do Survivor last, all right? Because I have an order this week. And I have one more event on the Falcons for ruining it, but I might save it for when I get to that game. They did not make the card for Survivor, so give me a breather. All right, NFL Week 4 picks. Let's get to it. Seahawks travel to Arizona to take on the Cardinals. Seahawks are favored by 1.5. Over and under listed at 43.5. So I just talked to my old man upstairs. All right, he was going to bet the Cardinals until I, yours truly, talked him out of it. Seattle, think about this for a second. Dominated the Saints last week. Everybody's thinking, oh, overreaction. They beat the Saints by, with 40 points. That's not why I'm taking Seattle. It's not why. They played the Niners tough at home, lost by 1 point. They went into Pittsburgh and beat the Steelers. And then they took care of business against the Saints. Arizona, the Saints nearly went to overtime against them. Carolina almost came back on them. And they lost to the Niners with Mac Jones. They could easily be 0-3. Potentially. They have not looked good. They are getting a 1.5 at home. I know people might take Arizona because it looks tempting. Cardinals haven't looked good, man. They have not looked good. Now, James Conner's also out for the season. Hope he gets back. Hope he gets well. Tough blow for them on offense. Marvin Harrison Jr. has looked like a shell of himself. I am a little curious in Seattle's injury report for defensive backs because that would worry me. That's what scared me a little bit going into Survivor this past Sunday. But Seattle ended up winning in one of my pools, so we stayed alive in at least 2 of the 3, but that's for later. So Seattle won. I'm a little concerned because, again, I don't know how that young secondary is going to be with those Cardinals receivers. I do expect them to take care of business on the road. They've looked good. And I think that Sam Darnold will outduel Kyler Murray, but it's not going to be a high-scoring game. 23-20, Seahawks win on the road against the Cardinals and move to 3-1. I'm not sold on Kyler Murray and the Cardinals. They're dropping to 2-2. They have not looked great through 3 games, in my opinion. Granted, you beat the Saints and you beat the Panthers. 2 cupcakes. Let's be real. You haven't beat a real team. And then when you played a real team, you lost. 23-20, Seahawks beat the Cardinals. Now, again, if you guys want to track my picks, see how I'm doing, and if you guys have the numbers, please send them to me. I'm very curious. I don't think I'm that great, but I also don't pick a lot of upsets from what you guys tell me, but I'm finding some. Anyway, Vikings-Steelers. This is a 9:30 game. I think this is in Dublin, I think this is in Dublin. Vikings favored by 2.5 against the Steelers. The over-and-under is listed at 40.5 points. Ooh, kind of low. I am not going to bet the over in this game. I don't love this. I will say one caveat. Weird things happen in London, okay? I've seen this happen. It's not even in London. Weird things happen in those overseas games, okay? Weird things happen, all right? I can't believe I said London after I said Dublin earlier with the Vikings Steelers. Forgive me. It's just I put the overseas games all in one. Most of them are London because that's what I've seen. Forgive me, I know I'm wrong on that. But weird things happen in overseas games, okay? You get missed two-point conversions. You get missed field goals. Big leads then get closed the gap on. But you know what? I'm taking the Vikings to win against the Steelers. Steelers coming off a game where, yes, they won. They pulled away late against New England. I feel like their offense has kind of been slow to kind of pull away. They haven't pulled away really in a game much this season. They did pull away late with the Patriots, yes, because Pop Douglas is an idiot going backwards on 4th and 2. I hope your ass on the bench this week. The Vikings, though, looked really good against the Bengals. Now, the Steelers' offensive line worries me. Their receiving core is going to be interesting to see if Flores can outduel Aaron Rodgers again in a 9:30 game, because he did it with the Vikings, with the Jets last season. Now that he plays the Steelers, okay? I like the Vikings to win 26-23. All right, this is a game where I think that the Steelers, they'll make it close late, but I think the Vikings jump out early like they did last time. And I think that the combination of Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison's coming back too. I think the Vikings, those guys that they have on offense, the Steelers, secondary is banged up. I think O'Connell will find a way to get some matchups open for Wentz. Vikings win 26-23 on the Steelers. The only question I have with the Vikings is, how are they going to block Cam Hayward and TJ Watt? I'm thinking they're going to do it a lot better than my Patriots did, which that's why I trust O'Connell and the Vikings. 26-23, Vikings over the Steelers. Chargers against the Giants in MetLife. So the Chargers travel all the way across country to play the Giants, where they're finally starting Jackson Dart. Now, I don't love this matchup for the kid off the rip. Why? The Chargers defense is really good. Okay? And I know people say, well, this is the classic bait game. The Chargers, you got to take them. Giants starting a rookie quarterback. Yes, but I would not have started Jackson Dart this week. I would have waited till the next game, which was at the Saints. And I think you would have got a better look to see what he does well in that game. I don't think you're going to get a good look with the Chargers because they're going to make it like hell for this kid. And I had this conversation with actually a couple friends of mine. They're Giants fans. We've had them both on the show. Not at the same time, but we've had them both on the show last year. And then I had my uncle and I were talking about it. And he thought that was a really good layout plan for when they should start Dart. I was wrong because the Giants, I feel like, you know what? Ownership came to Daboll and said, you got to start this kid or you're fired. And I think that's why. And they said, if you don't start Jackson Dart, Daboll, you're gone. That's why I think they made this move. That's the only way I think it makes sense. I've already told Giant fans I don't love it this week for him that he's starting against the Chargers. I like the Chargers to win 27-10. I think this is going to be a game where the Chargers jump out. The Giants may get a defensive touchdown. Maybe Dart gets a garbage time touchdown late. I do not love this game for them. I just think this is the wrong place, wrong time to start Jackson Dart. 27-20, Chargers beat the Giants, and that's where I think that the kid, he's not going to look good. Chargers jump out 4-0. Potential survivor pick this week. Potential, depending on the order. All right? Eagles travel to Tampa to take on the Bucs. A battle of the 3-0 ball clubs, and somebody's going to be 4-0 unless it's a tie, which we don't want on this show. We don't want ties. All right? Mike Evans is out a couple weeks. I felt really good about taking an upset, and then I was like, shit, Mike Evans is out. Godwin is supposed to play, maybe. I don't know how healthy he's going to be coming off that really bad knee injury last year. Ibuka's a little bit banged up. Eagles, though, won late, but won off 2 special teams touchdowns. They've won crazy games, all right? Crazy ways. Now, they're getting the Chiefs treatment from last year with, oh, the refs are not calling the tush push and all that. I will remind you, the one team that's had the Eagles number over the years has been Tampa. They've won one time over the Bucs in Tampa since 2021. So I do understand why they're favored at 3.5, the Eagles. I do understand it. But weird fucking shit happens to them when they go to Tampa. Weird things happen. The Bucs have had 3 games where it's all been by a walk-off possession. Field goal, touchdown, field goal. In each of the 3 weeks. I have a weird feeling it's not going to be this type of field, but it's going to be close to it. All right? You know what? I said I was leaning Tampa upset before Evans' injury, and I was going to take the upset. And then I'm thinking to myself, the Eagles going to win. But you know what? I'm like, you know what I'm saying? Weird shit happens in Tampa. And I think, you know what? Tampa, I'm going to take you guys to win. Give me the 3.5 with the Bucs, and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers will beat the Philadelphia Eagles in this matchup. I think the Bucs have the Eagles number. I do. I think Baker Mayfield's playing really good. I think he had a good game plan last year with Fangio's defense. I think that even though Evans is banged up, if Godwin's back, I'm curious to see how much of the touches they give him for catches and yards. Abuka, I think, is going to be a big role. He's looked really good. I am a little worried because Tristan Wirfs is banged up. But some weird reason, you do know Tampa was the one team that has stopped the tush push, which was in a playoff game in Tampa. Yeah. Weird fucking shit happens. It's hard to find upsets, but you got to look real good to find them. Give me the Bucs to beat the Eagles 27-23. The Eagles go down, suffer their first loss. Tampa gets the win. They go to 4-0. Browns travel to Detroit to take on the Lions. Over and under is listed at 44.5. Am I crazy to think that the Lions could match the over as far as points scored against the Browns? Am I crazy? They lit up 34 on the Ravens. I know I'm mad at Campbell because he fucking ignored Jameson Williams and I'm 0-3 in my fantasy league. It's rough right now. But I feel like the Lions in the Dome against Cleveland, Deshaun Watson. No, he's not starting. Joe Flacco's starting. I feel like the Lions get to Flacco. I do. I can't believe I said Deshaun Watson. I thought he was starting, but no, it's Flacco. And I just feel like the Lions just have too much weapons on offense. I feel like it is going to be tough to see if they can block Graham and they can block Garrett. I think the Lions have answers for them with those 2 tackles. I think that Campbell will try to run, but I feel like they're going to open up a little bit more back home now. Short week, but Cleveland, I expect them to take care of business. I like the Lions to win 41-13. 41-13 on the Browns, and I wouldn't be shocked if this goes over because of the Lions. You know, I'm curious on Lions team total, actually, but the over and under, I think it's going to go over. I know Cleveland's defensive front is really good, but I think the Lions have the guys up front to slow them down, and they handle business the way they should. Saints travel to Buffalo to take on the Bills. The biggest point spread to date. The Bills are favored by 15.5 points against the Saints. Oh, man. Now, the Bills, all close games for 3 weeks. 1-1 against the Ravens, 7 against the Jets, 7 against Miami. They dropped 40 on the Ravens. Is this the first time we see a 50-burger with them? You know what? I am calling a 50-burger. This game's going over again. But it's because the Bills are going to score more than the freaking total. I'm going 51-16. I think the Bills drop 50 on this team. I do. If Seattle dropped 44 at home, what do you think the Bills are going to drop? They're dropping at least 50, right? I think the Bills drop 51 on the Saints. 51-16. This team, well-oiled machine. Josh Allen and company. He continues to make his MVP campaign again. Saints dominate the Bills. Not even much more to elaborate on. Commanders travel to Atlanta to take on the Falcons. They are favored by 1.5, and the over-and-under is at 45.5. Now, I don't know if Jayden Daniels is playing or not. This plays a role in what I'm going to pick. Last week, I went against the Commanders. I lost with the Raiders. Don't remind me why. I do think, though, Atlanta, They really love the pistol offense over there, and I'm just saying it right now. Their offense sucks. All right? They cost me in Survivor. No, they didn't make the card for Survivor this week, thank God, because they're fucking shit, and they're on my ban list. So this could be, you guys might say this is a spite pick, but I'm going with the Commanders with or without Jaden Daniels to beat Atlanta. Because I feel like Penix, there's some weird reason they will not let him throw the ball. Bijan Robinson, I hope he does good. I need him to do something for me in fantasy this week. I do not want to go 0-4, because if I go 0-4, might be time to put the team on fire sale. That's how bad they are. No, they're actually not bad. We just can't fucking score when we need to. All the big boys are not doing what I expect them to do on my team. Anyway, I do expect Washington to score 33 points on Atlanta. I'm not sold on their defense. If Carolina dropped 30, I expect Washington to drop 33 with or without Daniels. Mariota dropped 34 on the Raiders. So I like Washington 33-20 over the Falcons. I am not sold on the Falcons anymore. I thought they looked good through 2 weeks. I thought they would go 3-0. They're now on my shit list. So now this is a spy pick. Fuck you, Falcons, for costing me a survivor pool. Commanders win 33-20 over the Falcons. No upset there. A battle of 0-3 clubs in the AFC South. Titans travel to Houston to take on the Texans. Texans are favored by 7 points. Over and under is listed at 38.5. This is the lowest of the batch. This game smells a little bit, all right? Titans, Cam Ward has looked bad, but it's really a supporting cast that looks bad. Texans, offensive line, the most dreadful unit in football right now. They are bad. I like the Texans to win because I trust that they are going to find a way to get points. CJ Stroud can lift the team on his back and win this one. I like 26-16 over the Titans. I just don't know how the Titans are going to move the ball with the Texans' defense being so good. Hunter and Will Anderson on the edges. I mean, Stingley on the outside, taking away Calvin Ridley. Cam Ward's limited as is with that cast. I mean, I feel like the Texans' defense should score a touchdown in this week. And then again, can the Texans' offense score? I think Stroud gets enough points to hang on the Titans. 26-16, Texans beat the Titans. They cover the 7. Panthers against the Patriots. So Panthers traveled to Gillette to take on the Patriots. 4.5 New England is favored over the Panthers. Over and under is listed at 42.5. I'm hoping Christian Gonzalez plays. Please, we need him back. Boy, did we miss him against the Steelers. New England's defense actually looked good against the Steelers outside of the first 2 opening drives of the game. Their offensive line, though, can be hit or miss. Is this a good get-right game? Yes. I am a little worried, though, because I hope they can get this offense together. I really do. Because the turnovers, bench Ramondre, bench Pop Douglas, please. I have seen enough. Get him off the fucking team. Bryce Young, he looked good against Atlanta, and that's what worries me a little bit. They came back against Arizona a little bit. They didn't quite come back to win, but they made it a game. Weirdly enough, I think New England will cover. They'll win. Carolina may hang around, which worries me. I got 27-19. New England beats Carolina. I think it slightly goes over, but I think the New England Patriots offense gets right. Travion Henderson should play more. Efton Chisholm should hopefully play more. Can we get a Kyle Williams snaps, please? Can we get him some touches? I don't want us to run another fucking receiver. And he actually looks good, but we don't fucking play him. Defense, though, I think will do its business. Get after Bryce Young. Get a takeaway. We need Gonzo back. Patriots win 27-19 over the Panthers. The undefeated Colts travel to Los Angeles to take on the Rams. 3.5 points the Rams are favored by against the Colts. 49.5 over and under. Woo! All right. I'm not taking the Colts to win. I am trusting Sean McVay and company, but I will say this to you. That Rams secondary looks very concerning because A.J. Brown had a field day. Thank you for ruining fantasy for me, A.J. Brown. Appreciated it. The Rams secondary concerns me. Their front is not bad, but their secondary concerns me. The only way the Colts win, I think, is if they really attack those young Rams defensive backs. And I think Pittman's a good receiver. Alec Pierce is a good receiver. Adonai Mitchell if he's healthy, Tyler Warren's a really good X factor in this game because I think he's looked good so far through 3 weeks. Jonathan Taylor, I do think will score a touchdown in this game. But I do think the Rams have too much answers offensively. Puka, Devontae, I need you to go off in fantasy again. I'm a little worried with Gus Bradley's cover 3 defense. That's all he really runs. But I like the Rams to win 30-24. And I like the over in this game. I do. And I'll tell you one other game I like the over in real quick that I did not mention. Tampa Bay Eagles over 43.5. I like it. I like the over in this game. 49.5 Colts Rams. I think it goes over the total. I think both teams score. So 2 overs I like so far in this game. And yeah, I had the one guarantee with the Bucs beating the Eagles because I felt like it was tempting. So I added that to my card because I just think that, Tampa Bay could beat Philly. But anyway, back to this game. I do think the Colts and Rams score some points. I do. I think that Daniel Jones, he's looked really good. I think he's going to continue to look good, but I don't think they can outduel the Rams. Stafford, company, maybe Kyron Williams gets a touchdown or 2. The Rams will get right. They're not going to have another 19-point lead that gets collapsed. Again, I expect them to take care of business at home. 30-24, Rams beat the Colts. Jaguars at the Niners. Niners are favored by 3.5. Total 47.5. So Jacksonville, let's think about this. Beat Carolina, handled them. Lost on a quarterback sneak to Jake Browning 2 weeks ago. And beat the Texans convincingly. 17-9. I wouldn't say convincingly, but you get the point. Niners, though, close win at Seattle. Close win at the Saints. Close win against the Cardinals. Nick Bosa's done for the year. Killer loss. Purdy's banged up. CMC. Is he next with that injury toll? Kittle's out. Jennings banged up. Ayuk banged up. This game, is it really 3.5? I know I said the Jaguars defense is not good. I know. But is that a little high or is it just me? And you know what? I kind of like the Jaguars getting the 3.5 on the road. I'm taking the Jaguars. I am. And I'm taking them to win the game. Because I am very concerned with the Niners. Also, too, they have a short week traveling to the Rams after this game. I think this is a game they're going to lose. Because they've been hanging on for dear life with these close wins. But they haven't looked good in those 3 wins. And it's the injury bug. And when the Niners get the injury bug, it never goes well. Jaguars look good in all 3 games. Could arguably be 3-0. So I'm taking Jacksonville to go upset San Francisco 20-17 on the road. Jaguars go to 3-1 in the AFC South, tied with the Colts, in my opinion. The big marquee game of the week, Ravens travel to Kansas City to take on the Chiefs. He is not going to like what I'm going to have to say, but I don't care. He's Longtime's biggest fan. I know. He is not going to like what I have to say. Is Vegas tempting us to take the Chiefs with 2.5 points? As a home dog, mind you, with Patrick Mahomes. Now, I know I hate you bandwagons. I do. But I told him last year, and I can't lie, Lamar Jackson's only beat the Chiefs 1 time in his entire career. The Chiefs had Lamar's number. The Ravens' defense looks awful. They got ran up by on the Lions. Buffalo had an air attack on them week 1. Matabike's banged up. He's out this week, one of their top defensive linemen. The Chiefs have some confidence now because of the fact that Tyquan Thornton actually looks good. Pain. I don't know if Xavier Worthy's going to play. I'm expecting him not to play. That's why I think Vegas has it at 2.5 point dogs for the Chiefs. But, 2, Derrick Henry. If they want to run Derrick Henry, the Ravens, Spags also owns him too. Derrick Henry's not going to do much against the Chiefs. He's just not. So if Spags owns Lamar and Derrick Henry, why the fuck am I taking the Ravens? Why? Their defense sucks. John Harbaugh's analytics are costing the Ravens games, and the Chiefs are a home dog. This is Vegas telling you, take the Chiefs. Now, I might take the bait. I might drink the Kool-Aid. For now, But how the fuck is Lamar going to win this game if he's only beaten Spags one time? And you're asking him to go win an Arrowhead with an offense that can score. But they got sacked 7 times in this game. 7 times. I like the Chiefs 2.5 points. Give me the home points with Mahomes. I don't like this. I really, really don't. I know this is crazy. I don't love this. Give me the Chiefs 2.5 points as a home dog. And I'll tell you right now, I think the Chiefs beat the Ravens. I just don't see a scenario where Derrick Henry runs wild. Lamar Jackson throws turnovers against Spags. He gets sacked. He throws picks. Lamar Jackson can't beat Spags' defense. Derrick Henry can't do anything against Spags' defense. What makes me think they're going to do it with this team that offensively is fine, but Spags has both their numbers. And their defense, the Ravens, is god-awful. With Mahomes, with a very shaky receiver core, this game will be close. I'm not betting the over. I'm going Chiefs 24-20 over the Ravens. I don't trust Lamar or Derrick Henry in the spot. John Harbaugh chokes again. 24-20. Chiefs beat the Ravens. Pains me to say, but you bandwagons, this is the spot where you go 2-2. I don't see it. I don't see how the Ravens pull an upset. I just don't. Bears travel to Vegas to take on the Raiders. Raiders are favored by 1.5. Total is 47.5. I want to take the Bears as an upset. I do. But what do I always say about Geno Smith? This fucking dude, he's like fucking Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. You don't know what fucking version of Geno you're going to get. Bears defense, they look good against Dallas. CeeDee Lamb was banged up. They looked good against Minnesota up until the fourth quarter. Lions, they looked ass. Caleb Williams looked really good against the Cowboys. Bottom 5 defense. Preview for next game. The Raiders defense got lit up by the Commanders on the road. I don't think Pete Carroll's going to have that happen again. I do think that this game will go over the total. I like the over 47.5 in this game. I think both guys will score. I just think Brock Bowers, can you fucking do something that score double digits in fantasy? Please. Please fucking score with double digits. I need him to score. Motherfucker hasn't done shit, and Chip Kelly's supposed to be a really good offensive mind. Fuck you doing? Oh, yeah, right. It's Geno Smith. Roma Dunze. Keep rolling, my man. Keep rolling. Double digits in 3 straight games. Maybe anytime touchdown. Maybe. I might do it. I might do it. He's been doing good for me in fantasy. I like the Raiders to win 30-27 on the Bears. High scoring game. I like the over a lot. Both guys will score. I expect Geno, though, to win because Geno Smith, he gets back on the good side because that's what he is. Raiders 30, Bears 27. Packers at Cowboys for the night game. Micah Parsons returns to Dallas. Oh, boy. All right. Lamb is out, most likely. So when I factor this in, the total is 47.5. Okay. Green Bay's defense, pissed that they looked awful against the Browns, traveling to Dallas where Micah's going to want payback on Jerry Jones for not paying him the bag. Oh, and Jordan Love with that defense. Should I go over on Matthew Golden receiving props? Maybe a touchdown in this game? Kind of tempted. I like the Packers to absolutely obliterate the Cowboys 38-17. Jordan Love goes crazy, and I think the Packers defense gets to Dak, maybe gets a pick 6 on him. Dallas Cowboys, awful on defense. Schottenheimer, he's all right as a coach. Matt LaFleur schools him. Jordan Love goes off like he did in the playoffs 2 years ago. Cowboys defense can't stop a cold. They get lit up. In the pass, the run game, they'll still get lit up. Watch. But Green Bay absolutely obliterates the Cowboys. Dak does not look good. 38-17. Packers beat the Cowboys. Jets travel to Miami to take on the Dolphins on Monday night. Now, Miami's coming off a lot of rest. Mini bye. Chargers had one early in the season. They won against the Raiders when they had the mini bye. So 1-0 with teams playing on that mini bye-ish. for a game previously on a Thursday or Friday into Monday. All right. Miami's favored by 2.5. Over and under is listed at 45.5. Here's what I'll tell you. I believe that there's some teams that just know how to win certain places. But you're like, how the fuck do they do this? And one team that somehow wins in Miami in weird ways and random times is the Jets. Now, Miami should win this game. The Jets, though, have looked competitive in all 3 games. Steelers, Bills, and they almost beat Tampa. That blocked field goal, they had it. And then Baker Mayfield just took over. Miami, king of blowing games. Dominated by the Colts. Blew the New England game. Made it a game with Buffalo. Tua throws a pick late. I'm known not to take upsets, right? Okay. Here's one for you. Jets beat the Dolphins in Miami. With or without Justin Fields. Tyrod Taylor, sneaky good quarterback. He can play. He can play. Very good backup. Maybe arguably the best backup in the league. I like the Jets 23-21 over Miami. I do. I don't know how the Jets are going to do it. Defense, the only way I can think of is that front with Tua. Quinnen Williams needs to have a game. Maybe that linebacking core, Gardner takes away Tyreek Hill or Waddle. But I like the Jets to beat Miami 23-21. And Mike McDaniel and company fall to 0-4. Tua, I'm counting to make a mistake late like he always does. And the Dolphins to kind of figure out, all right, when do we let go of Mike McDaniel? Not that I'm rooting for him to get fired, but I think the Jets win this game. Aaron Glenn's got his team playing hard. They just got to win a game. And I think they've been close. And I think the Jets, honestly, can go to Miami. They've done it before and win in Miami. And they've done it in weird ways. But they pull this out. Jets 23, Miami 21. Bengals travel to Denver to take on the Broncos. 7.5 Denver is favored by. Over and under is listed at 44.5. I'm not going to lie to you guys. Denver's defense has concerned me the past 2 weeks. And I expect them to get right. If the Vikings could get to Jake Browning and Denver's pass rush is really good, I expect Denver to take care of business. Bo Nix, supposedly he's the worst graded starting quarterback in the league. I find that to be false. I think he'll get right. That Bengals defense is awful. So I think Denver will handle business 30-17 on the Bengals. I do think the Bengals will score more than they did against the Vikings. If they don't score, then yeah, they're cooked. But I do think Denver gets right. Maybe a defensive touchdown, Denver, please. Starting in fantasy this week, maybe. But Denver handles business. They'll get back to 2-2. Trust Sean Payton and company. 30-17 over the Bengals. Now, let's quickly go into surviving on the SS Saile. We went down with the Falcons in one pool. Yeah, never again betting the Falcons. Fuck Zach Robinson. Dude is probably the worst play caller right now. Bottom 5 easily. With all that fucking talent and you score 0 against Carolina. All right. Brushing you off. Never using you again for now. Shit list. They're off my list for now. They did not make the card this week. So, I will say this to you guys. There are some good options that I like this week. There are some good options. I have a strong 5 or 6 you could legitimately pick from. Again, I have one that I think stands out above the rest, and then it's if you're in multiple pools, you could kind of play around. I'm in 2, so I'm going to go with my top 2 choices. But again, I'm giving you guys 6 choices to consider. I think there's one, though, that stands above all, and that's the Buffalo Bills against the Saints. If you have not taken the Bills yet, I would certainly hammer them to that this week. They should obliterate the Saints, okay? They're on clicking. They've had been a rest. I think they'll get right. I think that Josh Allen and company, if the Seahawks let the fucking Saints up, they should most certainly do it as well. All right? With that offense at home, come on now. Come on. I would be astonishingly stunned if they do not beat the Saints. Love the Bills. The best pick of the weekend. Stands above all. Josh Allen and company, they, I think, win handily. The best pick of Survivor, take the Bills. If you have taken the Bills, though, and you need somebody different, have no fear. We have some options. I would say, personally, if I'm looking at the last couple of options I've got, if you haven't taken the Lions, this is a good week to do it against the Browns. Short week. Cleveland's defensive front scares me a little bit, but the Lions at home usually do well. And I feel like that the Lions should do well. I feel like that they will run the ball, not at the clip they did against the Ravens, but I do believe that they will open up a little bit. Goff in the dome. I have been fantasy starting against the Browns, although I don't love it. I do think the Lions, this is a really good week. Browns quarterback play is awful. The Lions defense getting a little better each and every week. I do think that they will keep Flacco contained. He'll be awful. And I'm not expecting much from the Browns offense. The Lions offense, I think they'll run a little bit, not to the clip they did Monday night. They will air it out, I think, a little bit more. They'll score with ease. I would not blame you if you take the Lions. I would not blame you. They are a good choice. Another solid choice. Now, this might be the sucker pick. I love the Chargers against the Giants with Jackson Dart. I do. I don't think that this is the best spot for the Giants to start Jackson Dart. I really don't. I think the Giants rushed him in really badly. It's not that they trust Dart at all. It's because Wilson's so bad. They need something to have these fans not boo them at home again. But I just feel like the Chargers defense is so good. How are they going to move the ball consistently? So I like the Chargers to play against the Giants. If you like them, I don't blame you for them either. All right? But again, I would say this to you though. The Chargers have some games coming up that are a little easy. Okay? If the Commanders don't have Jaden Daniels, sneak them in maybe. Miami, maybe you win. But I wouldn't blame you taking them this week. I'd wait a little bit, though. Now to my other three. Me, personally, if I'm looking at, okay, who do I think has winnable games left on their schedule that are right now? I'm going with my Patriots. Now, I'm not saying this up because I'm biased. The only other game I'm like, okay, they could maybe win is at the Titans. But again, it's in Tennessee. It's Vrabel's homecoming to Tennessee. Road game. Cleveland at home. Could win that game. Cleveland's line scare me up front, defensively. Atlanta, maybe. But again, I don't love it. Right? I don't love this game. Well, no, I do love this game, actually. Because I do think they get right against Carolina. If they can't get right against Carolina, they're in trouble. Now, you're probably saying, Rich, you went against it last week. Why would you do it again? Well, one of my biggest mistakes was picking a division rival on the road and expecting them to handle business when they are by far the better team. That was my mistake with the Falcons. But who would have saw them getting shut out? Not me. But I am taking the Patriots in one of my pools that I have left, unless something changes drastically. I think they take care of Carolina. I think this is a good get-right game for them. I think that, to me, they don't have many games left that I think they can definitively pencil them in as, yeah, I love them this week. This is one of those games. All right, now I'm probably going to be hopefully getting my first pick right against Carolina. No, actually, I took the Cardinals in the pool before it got eliminated. So, wrong. I got him right once, and then I lost. So I'm looking to break 500 again. So I like New England to beat Carolina. That's probably one I'm taking in my other pool. Texans over the Titans is another good one, too. I think Stroud and them should get right. I'm a little weary picking divisional rivalry games because I feel like, again, they play each other tough. They know each other so well. I don't like taking the Texans. I know somebody else is taking the Texans. I don't know if I love it, but I wouldn't blame you for taking them. I wouldn't blame you. I wouldn't have them as my fourth choice at best, maybe fifth. This one, though, I have next should be higher. I have the Packers. But why are they so low, Rich? Because I feel like Green Bay, there are some games looking ahead that I'm like, they can win later. They can win later. I do think that they have a game coming up next week that I think they'll win, but I'll tease it next week. I think if you want to take Green Bay against Dallas to have, say, shit, you know what? I'm having fun. Fuck it. I can't pick the Bills because I took them earlier. All right. I took the Lions. I can't take them. All right. They're out. If you don't want to take the Chargers, Patriots, or Texans, and you want to just say, fuck it, I'm going to take a team that, you know what? I think they go by absolutely gut feeling that they blow out Dallas. I wouldn't blame you for taking Green Bay. They're not my top choice this week because I think you can get Green Bay later. All right? I think, let's go recap the choices. Now, my order would be this. Bills, by far, clear-cut, number one choice this week. By far. If you don't take the Bills, it's either because you already took them or you're waiting. I don't know why you're waiting. This is the game to take them now. Hammer the Bills. Best choice, lock of the week. Second choice. I'm going to say the Lions non-biasedly. I think the Lions handle the Browns. I do see two games, though, later. The Lions should win. But I wouldn't blame you if you have the Lions lower. I would say their second choice. My third, I'm going to say is New England. Because I think they should beat Carolina. I think they'll get right on offense. I am a little concerned with their inconsistencies. I do think this is a game, though, they should win. And if you want to go by a team that you feel like, you know what, this is the only game I see that they can win left on their schedule, for those of you that don't look ahead, this is the week I would do it. All right, I would. There are a few games I do think they could win. I don't love it compared to this week. Fourth choice, Chargers. I think they handle Jackson Dart. Again, I think the Chargers you can get, maybe if you want to take a stop in Miami, I feel like it's a really, really weird spot to take on the road. I think, again, the travel, I think that's going to play a role. It's a sucker bet. I feel like people are taking a lot of the Chargers. I am taking them as my fourth choice. Fifth, I'm taking the Texans because I think the Texans, this is a good spot if you want to take them. It's a risk, though, with the divisional rivalry. And then I've got the Packers 6 because I think you can get Green Bay later. And I'm going to probably pick them later in my pools. So, Bills, 1, 2, Lions, 3, Patriots, 4, Chargers, 5, Texans, 6, Packers. If you take anybody else but them, you go sweat this one out. That's just me. You go sweat it out. But maybe you guys have insane knowledge that I don't have. But those are the college football picks. Those are the guarantees. Those are the NFL Week 4 picks. And those are the Survivor picks on the SS sale. We had smooth waters with Seattle and then a little bit of a sweat with Tampa, but we got through. We're looking to stay smooth again this week, and let's stay alive in Survivor, try to go 4-0 and move on to Week 5. We need 2 pools to stay in, so looking good. Thank you so much for tuning in to Live Time, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Make sure you guys hit that like button, that subscribe button, that notification bell, so that way you guys can get all the latest content for the NFL season. We're almost a quarter of the way through the season, and we're just getting started, man. We're going to have guests later on in the season, all right? So that way you can be tired of hearing enough of me. But if you do like hearing my voice, that's awesome. You guys can follow us also on Rumble. We have episodes posted on Rumble. For some weird reason, there was technical difficulties. I don't know why. But I should have the episode out for you guys this weekend. Hopefully, if there's no problems. You can also follow me on X at LoungeTimePod. Feel free to send me a question that you guys want answered on the show. I have no problem answering it. So I got you. So I'll reply, and then I might even make it a segment. Guys, thank you so much for tuning into Lounge Time. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. And I will see you guys next week on Monday to recap all the action for College Football Week 5 and NFL Week 4. Have a great football weekend, everybody.